Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. You are here for another episode of Spilling the Tea with me. I'm James Caldwell of spillitboy.com. Today is September the 15th, 2014. Welcome back, guys. This is our second episode, and I am actually happy to be here. There's some things that I want to talk about today. We only have a few things, but we're going to go through them and we're going to work through them pretty quickly. Just some things that have been going on in the last 7 to 10 days that I thought was kind of interesting. So my first segment, I generally call out, what's the tea? And it's a person who I actually really think is the tea, and they've done something. I'm actually carrying somebody over from last week, which is still Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey has had an incredible week. He's been on the Chew. He's been on Life Class with Oprah. He had there was a 2-part Life Class that he did on OWN, which was out of sight. I watched that last night. It was really, really good. He's going around and he's actually doing, he has a new TV show that's daytime now. It comes on at 3 o'clock on ABC. And he's also promoting his new book. And the new book is actually called Act Like a Success, Think Like a Success. Well, he was actually on earlier today on the Meredith Vieira show. And it was funny because I've always loved Steve Harvey. I always thought Steve Harvey was hilarious, okay? So, the thing about Steve Harvey was Steve Harvey, you never know what the hell's going to come out of Steve's mouth. So that's part of the charm of Steve Harvey. You don't know what he's going to say. Well, Steve is on here with Meredith Vieira this morning. And they get to playing this game where they put a stocking cap on basically, and there's all these wigs. And it's kind of like a charades type of game. You have to guess who the person is once they throw the wig on. She went first. And she did like maybe 6 or 7 different people when he called them off. Then it was Steve's turn to go. Steve's putting these wigs on, which it was just ridiculous. But he's putting these wigs on and he's giving her clues about these people that he's talking about. And at a point, then and you could tell he thought the game was just ridiculous. But he was a good sport and he's doing it. So at a point, the time actually ran out. So Steve's a clown, so he just kind of keeps going. And the person he was actually doing was, he put this wig on, and it was actually Farrah Fawcett is who the person was supposed to be, but they didn't flash it on the screen because there was a screen behind her, so they didn't flash Farrah behind him. This fool is thinking it's Bo Derek. So he's got this wig, and he's like, yeah, I'm a 10 and I'm running down the beach. Now, we all know Bo Derek had the braids at that point when she's running down the beach. And Farrah Fawcett had the flip. So it was funny. Anyway, all in itself. So once Meredith, she's like, oh, no. And he says, okay. He said, oh, hell. She said, yeah, you're supposed to be Farrah Fawcett. He said, oh, hell, I done went and done the wrong white woman. Child, the audience gave... And they got the laugh and care. So that damn Steve Harvey, he isn't changed. Steve Harvey is a fool. And you never know what's going to come out of Steve's mouth. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. So I'm putting Steve. Steve is the T of the week for me. He got a lot going on. A lot of good things for him. And I do believe Steve Harvey's going to be like the next Phil Donahue. That's what I see. That's the direction that I see it going. And I hope it actually gets there for him. I'm enjoying it. I like the show. I've been watching the show. And again, everywhere he's been this past week, he's just doing an amazing job. So, Steve Harvey is the T for me this week. Okay, moving on. Spilling some tea here. Apollo Nida of Real Housewives of Atlanta, which is Phaedra Parks' husband. I don't know what's going on with Apollo, but this fool is supposed to be checking into federal prison in Lexington, Kentucky. He has an 8-year sentence, okay? He's been charged, he has an 8-year sentence to be served for a fraud conviction. Stealing these folks' money, their retirements, and it was just a big old mess. It's been going on forever, but he's finally supposed to be reported into jail. Well, this fool is going to report into jail late. Because when he was supposed to be there in Kentucky, he ain't in Kentucky. He's up in Atlanta bothering Phaedra, fussing back and forth with her about the fact that, allegedly, that, she's not holding him down, she's not standing behind him, and all of this kind of carrying on. Really, Apollo? For real? When we met Apollo on Real Housewives of Atlanta, this fool was just getting out of jail. Now, how many times you think she's going to do this with you and hold you down? There's always that speculation about whether she knew or didn't know. It don't even matter. You're going to jail for 8 years. You're supposed to be in Kentucky, report you're behind into the jail. You're over here in Atlanta bothering me. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, I just didn't get it. I didn't get it. They're fighting about putting money on the books. Man, if you don't get your behind somewhere and going over into the jail. So, and he's 35 years old. You're too old for this bullshit. We go on, look up. He done put out a video right before he goes into the jail talking about, I'm out here at the prison. I'm getting ready to go in and I'm about to go asunder. Apollo, do you know what asunder actually means? Asunder means you're going to pieces, like you're breaking into pieces. So, I don't, you know what? Let's just go and say that he does know what asunder actually means. So even if you know what asunder really means, now you're going into pieces. Why are you going into pieces? You've been there before. You've done this before. You knew what it was like. So why would you be breaking into pieces? Why are you breaking down now? Now is definitely not the time to be breaking down. Right now is the time to either break out some new skills or revert back to some old skills that you already had. Because, see, you done pissed off Phaedra, and I kind of understand her. That man, let's be real. Apollo literally embarrassed Phaedra on national television for 2 seasons, playing around with Kenya and her crazy bullshit. Literally, I mean, in the last season, he was getting on my nerves so bad, talking to her crazy and carrying on, and it was always this Kenya thing. Now, the thing is, maybe you should have been nice to Kenya, because he talked shit to her too. Or been nice to Phaedra, and hell, let's take it on a stretch. You could have been nicer to Brandon, and maybe he would have sent you some cigarettes. But no, you beat Brandon all up, talk shit to Phaedra, talk shit to Kenya, tried to embarrass everybody, and everybody knew that you and Kenya done did whatever y'all done, or there was guilt in there somewhere. But I don't blame Phaedra for not holding them down like that. You did a lot. You did a lot. Kenya, child, she's just a clown. Ain't nobody got time for her. And like I said, maybe if you'd have been nicer to Brandon, maybe Brandon would have sent you some cigarettes. But right now, you're just on your own. Get your ass on in there into the jail and do what you got to do. And he said, he talking about on the video, y'all be hearing from me. We wasn't hearing from you when you was stealing them folks' money. We don't want to hear from your ass, Apollo. Child, night, Nida. Ain't nobody got no time for that. Moving on. Next I seen there was a situation with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was actually, he has this one-man show that he was doing. It's been to Broadway and Vegas and a couple other places. But he was out supporting himself on his one-man show. He ended up cussing a reporter out on live television. It was a live television interview on CP24, which is an all-news network in Toronto, Canada. It was a mess. The guy kind of, it's a mess when they do that little switcheroo, because everybody knows when they do these interviews, they talk about it before. Anything you don't want to ask, you're kind of telling them, look, don't even go into that because I'm not getting ready to do that with you. You know what I mean? No, this little guy, he going to try to do the little switcheroo on Mike Tyson. Now, who in their right mind is playing switcheroo with Mike Tyson? I just don't get it. He is a self-admitted ass whooper. So you go ahead and play with Mike Tyson if you want to. But this fool that sat up there and he's interviewing Mike. The interview was literally all about the one-man show. This guy literally takes and he brings up the recent endorsement that Mike Tyson has for Rob Ford in his race for mayor. So he brings that up and then says, do you think it's going to hurt Rob Ford with the fact that you're a convicted rapist? You can immediately see Mike Tyson in the footage. You can see him shift and get very irritated. Not a good place to be. Okay? He got just irritated and he looked at the guy and he said, you know, you're really a piece of shit. Fuck you. The guy's like, well, wait a minute. We're on live TV. Mike was like, I don't care. I don't care. What you going to do about it? Now, I'm about on the floor. At this point, I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. So the guy tries to redirect the conversation, and he's asking the guy, the guy's asking Mike, well, is it more nerve-wracking to do the Broadway show or to do this kind of, or to box? And Mike's like, no, the most nerve-wracking thing is doing a gig like this with a rap piece of shit like you, because you come off as a nice guy, but you're really not a nice guy. You're a piece of shit. So the guy ended up like wrapping up the interview. He's like, we're going to go ahead and end this interview, this, that, and the other. I just sat there in awe. I was just in awe, like, who does that? Who plays those kind of games with Mike Tyson? Now, if he'd have gave you the old 1-2, you'd have been feeling stupid right there on TV. You know, the one thing about everybody else that he done whooped their ass, they got paid good money to get their ass whooped. You would have just got embarrassed and got your ass whooped. I guess maybe you could have tried to get some money down the line, but was it really worth it? I really didn't think so. I thought it was the most hilarious thing in the world, but Mike did real good. He stayed seated the whole time. You know, he just cussed that motherfucker out, but he stayed seated the whole time. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, moving on. Now, daytime television has had some shifts already this week. Today, they premiered the 18th season of The View on ABC. Now, we have it's made like a whole new cast. I didn't realize, I knew there was 2 people leaving and that kind of thing, but they have redone The View altogether. Whoopi is actually there, and, you know, Whoopi's been there forever. And then we have Rosie O'Donnell now. We got Rosie Perez, and there's also this Nicole Wallace. Now, I wasn't really, I didn't know who this Nicole Wallace was, per se. She actually is a Republican, and she has worked for George Bush. She worked for George Bush for 6 years. So she was actually there working with him when he was in the White House and all of that business. But I really enjoyed watching The View. The other one, I would watch it sometimes, but it was always so stuffy. Very stuffy, like watching the news. And I'm not one for watching the news. I'm not big on watching the news. It always seemed stuffy, like they were always getting ready to argue. And I just didn't need that in my, you know, I watch enough people argue and fight and fussing and acting a fool on all that reality TV I watch at nights. So I just could never really get into The View like that. But the mood of it is a lot lighter now. There was a shift in the atmosphere. I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to definitely keep watching. I really enjoyed it. I love the camaraderie that there was between these 4. It was really cool. And then to end the show, and of course they had Barbara Walters. She showed her old ass up again to give them her blessing or whatever at the very beginning. Okay, enough. Goodbye, Barbara. Bye. Bye, Felicia. Go on home, girl. It's over now. Go on home. They did a fabulous tribute to Joan Rivers at the end of the show, and they had Christian Chenoweth. I hope I'm not saying her name. Kristen Chenoweth is, I believe, how you pronounce her name. She did a really nice song, and then they had like a montage that played of Joan, because everybody was crying when Kristen did the song. And once they went ahead and they moved on and said, you know, Joan always left you laughing. It was hilarious. At that point, I literally was you were crying and laughing at the same time. Watching Joan Rivers was a mess. A mess. I just loved her. But they did a really nice tribute to Joan Rivers. That was really, really nice. So that was basically it. That was this morning. That's the big thing that's going on to this week with daytime television. Nighttime television got a lot going on, and it's going to be interesting. Again, tonight is the premiere of Dancing with the Stars. That's at 8 p.m. on ABC. It's going to be fabulous. I went through last week of the actual contestants and all that. It's going to be wonderful. So we'll be right back playing the mirror ball game again. Love and Hip Hop Hollywood begins this evening at 8 p.m. on VH1. And again, some of the cast is Tia Marie, Ray J, Soulja Boy, and Omarion are actually in there. You know what? I ran into footage of a press conference that they have done lately. It's going to be interesting. Very interesting to see these young folks and how their program is going to actually pan out. They are a little interesting. Already, that press conference was a mess. I was like, okay. It was a little hostile at points. A little hostile. So definitely check them out at 8 p.m. on VH1. You could definitely check out my YouTube channel as well, because I am definitely going to be doing reviews weekly on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, just like I did for Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. So definitely keep up with that. And I think it's going to be, they're going to leave me with a lot to talk about. I can tell now. So that's that. I have to clear something up too, because I did make a mistake last week, and I'm going to clear that up. I apologize, guys. I told you that American Horror Story Freak Show was going to be debuting on the 25th, which that is incorrect. That's incorrect. Next week on the 25th, Scandal is actually coming back on at 9 p.m. They're going into the 9 p.m. slot on ABC, and then we're going to be premiering How to Get Away with Murder at 10 p.m., which used to be the Scandal slot. So we're going to get Shonda Rhimes, boom, boom, back to back. It's going to be fabulous. And American Horror Story is actually not starting until October the 8th, and that's at 10 p.m. on FX. And Patti LaBelle is joining the cast on American Horror Story. She actually is going to play a part where she is the mother of the character that Gabourey Sidibe is going to be playing, because she's coming back as well. So I wanted to clear that up. Sorry, guys, about the mistake, but we got it all cleared up now. Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder next week on Thursday. And then October 8th, 10 p.m. on FX is going to be our American Horror Story Freak Show. I will be doing reviews for American Horror Story. Not sure about Scandal, not sure about How to Get Away with Murder, but we'll see. I will definitely be watching both, but I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to do reviews on it. All right. Moving on. Sound Spill. This is turning out, I think it's going to be one of my favorite segments. I tell you guys all the time how much I love music. And I'm going to do this again. It's a sound spill. What I'm actually listening to. What I've been bumping in my car and bumping in my house this week. Is one of my favorite artists. And I love her and I always talk about her. Syleena Johnson. She is, of the whole franchise, for R&B divas. Atlanta, LA, whichever one. Syleena Johnson is my favorite. My absolute favorite. I've been following Syleena Johnson since she came onto the scene, okay? Love her. And everybody knows her for that raspy voice. Her voice is raspy and it's heavy and it's soulful, and she really gets down. Well, the thing is, there's a song of Syleena Johnson's that I have been stuck on. I have it in a constant repeat. This week I have, which is called I Believe in Love. It's on her Chapter 2 CD, The Voice. It's track 13. Again, like I said, Selena's known for the raspiness of her voice and all of that, and how gritty it gets. But what people don't really realize, Syleena has a hell of a range. A hell of a range. And this song, I believe, is one of the best songs where you could actually see her range and how she works with it. she does a lot in her upper range in this song, and it's just crystal clear, and she doesn't, well, naturally, she doesn't crack or anything because she's just that. I think she's more than just a singer. She's a vocalist, and she really gets down. But not only that, the lyrics in the song is something that I believe very, very strongly in. Like I said, the name of the song is I Believe in Love. And she basically tells a little bit about being in, a bad relationship and then moving forward into a good relationship. And some of the lyrics kind of goes like this. She says, some say that I should be bitter and untrustworthy from all that I've been through. Just because somebody didn't know how to treat me doesn't make love to blame. And she goes on and she says, it just means I haven't met my ultimate summer yet. And for that, I'm willing to wait. Man, that's deep. That's deep. And it's very important when you're talking about an actual mate and getting together with a mate. I see this all the time when people are making these mistakes with these mates. They're out looking for people. Why are you out looking? You can't go look for a mate. You can't. I mean, when you go out looking for something, you're going to find exactly what you're looking for. You at the bar, out here looking for a mate. Why? Why? And that's like the first place people go. Church and to the bar. Child, I'm looking for me a man, or I'm looking for me a woman. Why? You can't go looking for a mate. That I really do believe is God's work. When it's time for you to meet up with who you're going to be with, whatever that is, and y'all are going to link and it's going to be the real thing and the right thing, you can't go looking for that because that don't happen in your time. That happens in God's time. They'll find you. You'll find them. Bam. It'll just be clockwork. Boom. And y'all will be together. You can't put your time on that. So that's part of what really attracts me to the song, the wording, and then naturally her vocals, ridiculous. This is one of those songs you find yourself, you're listening to it in a repeat, and if you don't catch yourself, you'll find yourself sitting somewhere crying, listen to the song, because it's so true. So true. Like she says, like a flower likes to bloom in May, I'll be patient. Because I believe in love. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up right there. But that's what I'm telling you. Go check that out. That's what I've been bumping. That's the sounds I've been spilling. Chapter 2, The Voice, track number 13, I Believe in Love, Syleena Johnson. All right, guys. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. Thank you so much for sitting with me for this episode of Spilling the Tea with me. You can follow me at Twitter at pardon me. You can follow me on Twitter at spillitboy, or you can check out the website at spillitboy.com, where all the teas are spilling all the time. I am James Caldwell, and I am signing off. I will see you guys next week. See you guys. Bye.